Oh, hello everybody, we are live. Who's there? Who's watching me? I just stole some sausage and I'm ready to eat them. But where is my friend? Where is my friend? Are you there? Sei lì?
Sto mangiando.
Io pure. Dove sei? Esci fuori, fatti vedere. Show yourself.
Ti ho beccata, Zanni da picnic. Getta la maschera, getta la maschera. Getta la maschera. Buongiorno a tutti alla Commedia in quarantena.
Mi hai beccato, you caught me.
Yes, that's social. I mean, that prop made audience laugh a lot. I remember.
Yes, it's an historical prop for our group, Pazzi Lazzi.
And what will happen today alla Commedia in quarantena? We are at the fifth episode, Chiara, right?
Yes. I'm so excited. This is our fifth, quinto episodio. And we already say hello to Tony from Australia. Ciao, Tony. Hello, Tony.
Ciao. Quindi, allora, la Commedia in quarantena, noi switchiamo in italiano, però c'è un motivo perché switcho in italiano.
Switcho poi è qualcosa.
Switcho e Gramlò, che io switchassi. Allora, e cioè, noi abbiamo iniziato a fare networking con gli attori della Commedia dell'Arte, attrici e un'altra password chiave, perché oggi avremo la prima donna.
Yes, so yes, you're absolutely right. This is our fifth episode, as I just said, because in our past four, we had Federico Moschetti. Ciao, Federico. We had Ollie Creek. We had Massimo Machiavelli. Ciao, Massimo, one of my teachers when I was in Bologna.
He was a great balanzone, by the way.
Great balanzone, yes. Yeah. And then we had Ollie Creek from England, a fabulous performer and scholar. And then we had last week Mace Perlman from Connecticut, USA, that also is a fabulous performer and scholar. And we had a lot of fun with him when if you remember, Emanuele, we did all the hands, the
mimics, yeah. And now we have a woman and an Italian.
And finally, we have a woman.
Yes, an Italian expat in London, like us. I mean, no, we are not London. You're in Boston, I'm in New York. But what?
Yes. So her name, I'm very excited to meet her for the second time, let's say, after yesterday, because she's a fabulous performer and she's Italian, based in London. Her name is Chiara, and I particularly love the name.
Yeah.
Mi piace tanto questo nome.
How about that?
Chiara D'Anna. And here she is, rullo di tamburi. Hello, ciao Chiara.
Ciao Chiara.
Ciao Chiara, ciao Emanuele.
Ciao. Ora ho difficoltà a chiamarvi per nome, ma vi chiamerò forse per cognome come a scuola. Però benvenuta alla Commedia in quarantena.
Grazie, che bello. I'm very happy to be here. Sorry, I was just confused. I need to switch. I need to keep my English brain.
Hey, that's okay. We are doing both languages. Okay. We are expert in Gramlow, so that's fine. We actually love your British accent. accent.
I
Very
know.
elegant, very elegant. You know, Emanuele and I, in spite of our Italian accent, we have an American accent,
Yeah,
right?
I speak like that, like a New Yorker.
Yeah. So,
So,
Chiara, tell us a little bit about yourself. Probably in English, but if you want to switchare
switchare.
in Italiano, that's fine.
Well, I'm Italian. I'm from Torino originally, but my mom is. No, it's not the story of my family. Don't worry. But I mentioned my mom. I mentioned my mom because my mom is from Venice. It's from the Venice region, from Vicenza, and I often laugh about what makes me, let's say, such a passionate practitioner on Commedia, and I think partly it's because I'm a Zanni. Because I think my mom, from my mom lineage, my grandmother and my grandfather were peasants nella piana, insomma, da dove vengono gli Zanni. So
right.
I don't know if there is something in the blood. So, and yes, so that's just tell you a bit about where I come from. But I'm based in London, as you said. And
so you think it's genetic, right, Chiara? You think it's a genetic situation here, huh?
You know, yes, I think. I tell you this, I've never managed to play la prima donna. Never. The lovers, never. Always the servant. There is no way I can
Sì.
That's it.
That's okay. Servants are the funniest.
So I'm that. And
please go ahead. Please.
No, I was just saying, and then so I started my theatre studies in Italy, and it was always more physical theatre based work, and then I moved to London and I carried on and I studied physical theatre here in London, and then all of a sudden I discovered that the Commedia was particularly appreciated, and then I was asked to go and teach in universities, I think like Chiara, and I don't know, Emanuele, you too, I don't know, and so I started to actually rediscover Commedia even more here, because there was a certain fascination, maybe because I'm Italian, so there's a particular, I don't know, that cultural connection, I don't know. And I have my company here in London. At the moment, the company, it's me. And in the sense that there are always collaborators that come, but for specific projects. And because the last project, 2 projects, solo shows, at the moment I'm collaborating just with this amazing scenographer and lighting designer. Yeah.
That is important, because you mentioned that you discovered the Commedia dell'Arte later when you were abroad. Exactly.
No, I discovered it when I was in Torino, when I was studying in the drama school, and actually the thing that opened my I fell in love because of a workshop with the great Claudia Contini. She's an extraordinary practitioner.
Yeah.
But then I left there, and I was absolutely in love. But what I'm saying is, like, I discovered more the interest of other people in me doing Commedia here rather than at home. If it makes sense.
Chiara, I am absolutely blown away, because you and I have so much in common. Because I studied at the DAMS, Discipline Arte, Musica e Spettacolo in Bologna, and I met Claudia Contini, with whom I did in the following years a bunch of workshops. And when I moved to Boston in 2000, I started doing theater with Americans, so local companies. And then a bunch of universities and cultural organizations, they asked me to do Italian shows, Italian cultural shows. And I said, what the heck am I going to do? And I went back to the Commedia dell'Arte. So for me, it's totally based on Claudia's teaching. And next week, Claudia will be our guest. I'm so excited.
Yes.
I know.
Yes.
Everybody's crying. Yeah. So, and I feel the same as you just said. I realized that in almost 10 years of Pazzi Lazzi, I'm having so much more work here in the East Coast of the States, or in the States, because, you know, I'm Italian, Commedia dell'Arte, it all goes very well together. So I don't think that I would have been able to do a job out of it in Italy. What do you think?
Yes, that's a good question.
I don't know, but yeah, you're right. I think partly maybe it's also because the community, in a sense, it was really quick. The way it was very welcoming and also very quick how the connection of the Commedia dell'Arte community in the UK, or at least in London. So Ollie is not in London, it's outside London, but Ollie, Didi Hopkins is another great practitioner, and Paola Cavallini is a lady that lives in London, is from Venice. She's an exceptional pantalone. So lots of people, and the connection were probably quicker because there are less people than in Italy involved in Commedia.
Exactly.
I just want to say that another important meeting for me was Mauro Piombo. Mauro is a Commedia practitioner who is based in Torino, and after I spent after a couple of years of my life in London, I went back for a project on Commedia dell'Arte with Mauro. And that was another stage where also my practice really developed. So there was Claudia first, and then in London I started to discover more my teaching practice, and then Mauro. And then from there I started to develop my passion, and then it led to my PhD, which is a bizarre thing, but then my research practice is on Commedia and contemporary theatre.
Yeah. And speaking of contemporary, I mean, in the Commedia, and now we had the opportunity during this COVID time that the Commedia dell'Arte is coming back on the streets. I don't know, in Italy they are on the phase 3, right? Some theater are more open on the streets, like Commedia was. How is your relations with the physical theater? We were talking about before on behind the scene in your works, past works.
So in relation to how the Commedia dell'Arte leads to my physical theater work.
Yeah.
So, well, two things. One that is interesting in relation to the theater outdoor, so the fact that the practice of Commedia was in the streets, in the piazzas, and I haven't had the chance to do a lot of that. The chance I had is with students. I remember a group of students, and I remember taking them in the streets, and it was really exciting how positive the response of the audience in this pedestrian space was. So that made me think about that. And another thing I wanted to say in relation to that, I had a fantastic project coming up exactly this weekend that just passed, and unfortunately due to COVID was cancelled, and it was an outdoor performances outside the Wembley Stadium. So it was a kind of big, and I was asked to do some Commedia, but unfortunately that was cancelled. That was a shame.
Chiara, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
And then just to summarize, like what you were asking about the concept of contemporary physical theatre and Commedia. Yeah. Well, what I think progressively became clear to me when I was studying Commedia and the script of particular Flaminio Scala in relation to Commedia is that there are certain basic principles that we find in all contemporary performance, in devising theatre and a physical approach to character. So for me, what is exciting and what I tend to do more in my performances is to see how I can create contemporary characters, so characters that are in contemporary times, let's say around us, based on the archetypes of Commedia, so on the types of Commedia. So create, the kind of sort of bombastic character.
Give us a little example. I mean, I love this, and I think it's a wonderful research, very, very attuale. But I'm curious about a couple of examples.
Like in which?
No, like for example, a Commedia archetype. I don't know, a pantalone. What would you? How did you do a contemporary character?
Well, didn't have to go very far. I just had to think about my grandmother. It was
la nonnina
veneta, la nonnina veneta. So that's what I did. I literally kind of observe, like the memory. My grandma is not with us anymore, but the memory I had of my grandmother, the little details like the handkerchief. I don't know if my grandma had the handkerchief in the sleeves. you know.
My mother too. Yeah, my grandmother too.
Mine too. And have it sometimes.
I started to do the same. Maybe it's too soon. I don't know. And then thinking, and then taking the physical work of inherited from the Commedia mask, so Pantalone, and merge the two, and then I found this new Pantalona, if you want, and similarly with the Capitano, it's easy. There are
Capitano, yeah. I mean, politically incorrect.
Comes just to say that, well, no, I don't need to mention, but I'll mention it now. One I had an incredible fun just to take just Salvini in Italy, Trump in the States, and Johnson here, and I mean,
la triade della commedia dell'arte.
La triade dei capitani. Bellissimo, interessantissimo. Veramente questo lavoro, compliments on this work, because it sounds very, very interesting. I will send you privately a link to an interview that I did for Rai International, for the Rai, because I'm saying the same thing. And I don't do the contemporary characters, but I said, I think that people still like Commedia dell'Arte, because the archetypes are still here among us. Who doesn't know a dottore? I mean, I bumped into many dottori in my life.
Oh, me too.
So yeah, I mean, this is fabulous, and the fact that you put it in performances, I really think is excellent. And in fact, Chiara, can you tell us a little bit about your solo performance? Because again, we have something in common here, which is I do have a one-woman show with a musician, the fabulous Dan Myers, of Commedia dell'Arte, about Isabella Andreini, called Isabella Unmasked. But you have also a one-woman show, right? Tell us about it.
So the show is, the title of the show is Don't You Dare, and has been changed, as you probably can relate, Chiara, like when you do a device piece, like it's been changing throughout the years, has been going on for a while, and unfortunately I had to stop the tour due to coronavirus, and the tour was just starting, but hey. And the show is started really from the inspiration for the show that is about the women of Commedia dell'Arte, in the sense of the clash between the role of women in Commedia dell'Arte and the Inquisition at that time. So it takes a lot of historical facts and documentation, and then is a surreal comedy. So, and then also brought to the present. And the idea of the show is taking as an example that the witch hunt and the attack on women at that time as a metaphor, but to talk about any repression and any xenophobic attitude. So it's the idea of attacking something that is different, and in the sense women were not a minority in the sense of ethnic minority, but they were attacked viciously by the church. And so it takes that as the inspiration actually from the piece came from a passage of an homily of Carlo Borromeo, San Carlo. And when he said, basically, he was really concerned about the power that Commedia had, how the people in the piazza were so fascinated by the actors, so much so that he said it can be only an act of the devil. And the proof is look at that, look at the women. The women are the instrument of the devil. He called them the organum diaboli. So it's quite clear that with the mask associated always with Satan, with the devil, and women is a clear sign that Commedia dell'Arte is evil. And so I started from that. But then I have an array of funny characters. Like there are different characters around this central story, which is an attack where the Inquisition basically accused an actress of Commedia dell'Arte to be a witch. But the reason why they accuse her to be a witch, because she's so extraordinarily talented in transforming on stage, that they say, look, she's the devil. She transforms so well on stage that she can't be natural. So that's the idea.
Sounds fantastic, and I really hope you can perform this show soon.
Yes.
And in many places.
I wanted to say to our audience, check out on the Vimeo website of Chiara D'Anna, and check out the video of the audience responses, because they are very interesting, what they say after the show.
However, we will put some links in our comments here after we are done, so you guys can come back to it and check her videos, because they are absolutely fabulous. And so, Chiara, so during this quarantena, what have you done the last, I don't know, 3-4
allora,
months?
Noi abbiamo imparato tantissimo. We learned a lot, because we get connected with, I mean, all actors. Even when I moved to New York, we had a drama, actually, we can say that, with Chiara D'Anna, because, you know, we co-founded together, and then we continued to collaborate. But now that, I mean, with Zoom...
Drama meaning that I cried because he left, and, you know, don't go, don't go.
But then we are collaborating again. You know, we can break the distances. So I wanted to say that this time is opportunity to create more, I think. Right?
Or to just watch TV and, you know, it's not absolutely necessary and obligatory, but we are curious about you.
Manuela, you're absolutely right. I just don't know. These 3 months, literally, I must say, they went so quickly, because all of a sudden I found myself doing millions of things. And I say, and after people say, oh, you watch all the Netflix series, say, I don't watch anything, because I was, like you say, Zoom call or the Zoom call.
Me too, the same thing.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
So one of 2 things I did that actually took, and I keep doing them, and I'm having loads of fun and great, and I found like great sort of expansion in terms of growth and knowledge and skills that I'm learning. One is a fantastic project with a group of Italian actors in London, and is we are reading Il Decamerone di Boccaccio.
Hello.
Through Zoom, basically. And the idea was with a friend, actually, is Elena Mazzoni, is a friend of mine, another Italian actress here in London. She started with this idea. We were discussing about the possibility, what do we do now that we are isolated? And it's like, hey, maybe we should, I don't know, we could do something creative. And then we thought about the similarities. Of course, the plague is a bit different than coronavirus, but the similarities of group of people that find themselves self-isolating. And then we said, okay, we are not in the same house, like the people, like the young women and men in the Decamerone, but we can create a virtual room through Zoom and read le novelle. And we have a very contemporary and take, and quite funny and humorous. In fact, there are a few novelle where I wear the mask, for instance, and I play Arlecchino or Zanni.
We need to put the link to those videos, because they are fabulous. I've seen.
Yes, I've seen also the Zanni improvisation. Maybe it's an old video, but it's very educational for.
Yeah. Chiara, are you also a teacher at the Accademia dell'Arte? That is, it's not. That is my impression, that Accademia dell'Arte among us Italians, probably it's not that known.
Right.
However, here in Boston, I've taught many times at the at Boston University in the Dance and Movement department. They needed a little bit of more Commedia, teaching, and I realized that many of their students go during the summer to the Accademia dell'Arte in Arezzo, right?
Yeah, it's correct, because I just keep I had the experience of working on the summer program. Hopefully, if obviously things go back to normal after COVID, maybe a bit more occasion. It's a absolutely wonderful place and a wonderful school, but it's very special. They basically are run, and it's an American college, so they invite American students from all around the states, from different universities, and they provide a training primarily in physical theater, and then a big part of the program is also Commedia dell'Arte, and it's a really fantastic. They have incredible facilities, incredible space, and wonderful philosophy, and kind of ethos, and great practitioner who teaches there. So that's wonderful. Yeah, and one of the things that unfortunately I should have been there teaching this July, and of course it's not happening. But in order to keep active, what I did during the second project that I did during this quarantine was to create resources, online resources on Commedia. Yeah. So I started to create a series of sort of introduction to the masks of Commedia, and I started to create these various YouTube videos when I sort of introductory tutorials, and that is something interesting, because I thought about it forever. Often the students ask me if they can have an online, some videos to go back to, just a reference after they worked in the class, and I never found a place where everything is there in one place. There are beautiful videos of various practitioners around the internet, and so I started to trying to create something a bit, kind of have a progression. So the warm-up session, the different masks, and my philosophy, the way I see it. I always say, nobody can say how you approach a mask. I can tell you the way I do it. I've learned it. I keep refining it. And there will be other practitioners that would have a different take, and their take is valid. Yeah. Is valid because there is a recipe or a dogma. I don't think there is a dogma,
Right. No, this is excellent. And in fact, please let us know when it's completed. I don't know if you're done yet, but this can be useful for everybody. So, fabulous.
Speriamo per l'autunno riaprino teatri.
Paolo.
Unfortunately, I just got an email a couple of hours ago from the Huntington Theater in Boston, which is one of the best, theater producing their own shows. They are not going to reopen until January.
Even in New York and Broadway. Yeah.
I hope in Europe it will be better, but here in the States it looks like the fall, nell'autunno anche. Ci troveremo a fare cose online.
Probabilmente.
Fantastico.
We should create a show, Emanuele, with all our guests.
Certo. Sarebbe
an
carino.
Online show or something.
Sarebbe anche carino. Because today we told to the audience on a quick video on Instagram, like a behind the scene, because we recorded a video for a children's show, a kids show, and can I say a bad word? Beep, because yesterday we changed. We didn't know that the mirroring, of Zoom,
it was so complicated.
That's so funny, because you don't know, to figure out who is in particular. Yeah. Sometimes with the Boccaccio, like 7 different screen, actors, right? Yeah. And what do I put is correct or not? Is down?
But in fact, with 2 people, we were okay. We were better. I think for 7, 8 people would be messy, and I think the semantics changes every time. The direction.
Yes. But it was a challenge, even because I was the wrong side when I saw the video, and Emanuele was the right side. So who knows why in Zoom the recording didn't reflect the actual what we saw in the screen while we were shooting. But these are life lessons.
Zoom è la nostra piazza in questo momento.
In questo periodo è così.
Va bene. Senti, allora, Durazzini, altre domande? o chiamiamo le maschere? Cosa ne dici?
Yeah, can I ask you a question?
Yeah,
I'm really
yes.
like I reverse the role now. I ask you.
Oh yeah, I'm honored.
No, I'm really curious about, but what is, probably you talked about it before, but I don't, what is the scene in a place like New York in relation to Commedia dell'Arte? How is it perceived? What type of, how is it? It's really, really curious.
I mean, I'm speaking about New York. There are a couple of 2 or 3 Commedia dell'Arte-ish companies. They are more like in clownery.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, there was one. I think they are not active anymore. But sometimes some Italian production theater company could do Commedia dell'Arte. I remember. I mean, the last Commedia dell'Arte show that I saw was the Master of Two Servants. I think 2-3 years ago in a big theater. But I don't see too much in New York.
And Boston is different?
Okay, so I'm speaking for Boston. First of all, I want just a quick parenthesis. I want to say hi to Giovanni Saraceni. Giovanni, thank you.
Ciao Giovanni.
Grande, perché Giovanni ci segue sempre. He's a member of the Dante Alighieri Italian Society for which I organize cultural events. And so he and I collaborate a lot, and he's fabulous. I think in Boston, the best, with his wife Maria Luisa, the best Italian culture supporter.
Yes, è vero, è vero, è vero.
Quindi ciao Giovanni. Infatti Giovanni ti sta dicendo che gli sta piacendo tantissimo il tuo accento britannico. Loving your British accent.
Ma c'è un complesso di avere l'accentaccio italiano, anzi alle volte addirittura dico, ma c'ho l'accento piemontese ancora, è possibile?
I have an Italian accent while I speak with an American accent. I mean, it's all good.
Thank you, grazie. Thank you.
So for Boston, okay, so in Boston we have another wonderful Commedia dell'Arte company called I Sebastiani. They've been active for, I think, 20, 25, more, 30 years.
Wow.
However, they are amateur, but they're good, and they put on really fun shows. And in fact, I want to say hi to Jay and maybe Capo Cat, if they are listening. But they don't teach much, and they are all Americans. It's fun to see how Americans love it.
Yeah.
However, that's it. I'm also Pazzi Lazzi is the second, let's say, troupe, but we do more of an educational job and less performances, because I Sebastiani have like 10 people, while Pazzi Lazzi, just like you, has me as an artistic director, and then I pick whoever I need, either Emanuele or Riccardo or Liz or the musician Dan, based on what I need for that gig. I call my Pazzi Lazzi slaves.
Collaborators.
Collaborators. So, but that's it. And in fact, I have to say that when I give workshops open to all, many people come, because, it's not a common thing to have, so pretty lucky, because at least I don't have much competition. It would be fun to collaborate. Even Sebastiani, let's do something together, please.
Yeah. And then we have open connection, London.
Esatto, stavo per dire la stessa cosa. Chiara D'Anna, se la benvenuta quando aprono i voli, se la benvenuta a New York e a Boston.
Ma devo dire, perché io in realtà il mio sogno era di venire a New York, quando 16 anni fa però poi era troppo incasinato e ho detto visti non cose, e quindi sono venuta a Londra per pigrizia, cioè pigrizia nel senso la difficoltà, però il mio sogno è di venire a New York proprio.
Ma sì, dai, ci vieni.
Sì,
we will organize. Federico, ciao Federico, he's saying.
Ciao Federico.
It seems like we need to create a big, huge international festival in the US with comedianti from all over the world for performances and workshops.
Brilliant.
It's fabulous. If we got the dinero.
Infatti questa serie della Commedia in quarantena è forse una preparazione, forse un dio nascosto ci sta dicendo di fare qualcosa e ancora non lo vogliamo ascoltare.
Bisogna corrispettivi, che ne so, se bisogna trovare proprio un patron of the arts, tipo, sai, i commedianti avevano i loro aristocratici, insomma, i duchi di qua, i marachesi di là. Dobbiamo trovare il corrispettivo contemporaneo che ci supporti nelle nostre avventure.
Let's start researching, maybe even applying to some bandi, to some grants. Can be a good idea, because creating a festival of Commedia dell'Arte would be fabulous.
Esatto.
With all over the world practitioners. Yeah.
And speaking of, parlando di un aristocratico, io vorrei chiamare una maschera che è un po' aristocratica e un po' professorona.
Abbiamo...
sì, io quasi quasi la vado a cercare. Voi? Vediamo cosa avete, ma prima di salutarci, no, anzi, prima di chiamare le maschere ci salutiamo.
Ci salutiamo.
Certo. Allora, we have a lot of people following us today, so thank you all for following us. Please know, all of you, including Chiara D'Anna, that we can always rewatch the video on the Pazzi Lazzi page. You can also watch the old ones. They are all there. They are all there. Che dire? I'm so happy to have finally met Chiara, because I knew, following her on social medias, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, that we had a lot in common. I could see it, and in fact that's why we decided to try and see to call her up.
Posso dire che finalmente io sono in minoranza.
Sì, fa la figura del salame tra due dame.
Le donne vincono oggi, va.
Dai, picchialo, menalo.
No, ma prendi la bacchetta, lo slapstick, Durazzini.
No, ce l'ho nell'altra stanza dopo il video. Ma
no, comunque.
Guarda, I'm gonna whip you up with sausages.
Mi sembra
no,
giusto.
Grazie Chiara per essere stata alla Commedia in quarantena.
Grazie davvero. Grazie a voi.
Let's keep in touch. Let us know all the time. Feel free to post on our page for, your things. And again, we will put some links to your videos in this chat, in the,
Io vado a chiamare questo professorone intanto che voi vi salutate.
Sì, il famoso professore.
Grazie.
Ciao Ema, grazie. Chiara, davvero un grande piacere. I hope that all the people that are following us now enjoyed it. Guarda, siamo le due donne senza nessuno adesso.
I hope you enjoyed it. It was really fun for me. And
no, c'è. Si vede il braccio, the hairy arm. Okay, so let's conclude as always with a super improvised. People, please know that it's improvised. Sketch with masks. As we usually say, surprise me with your mask.
Danna dannorum donnescu, because we have today a beautiful woman. Oh, a beautiful woman who has this accent.
A beautiful woman? Where?
Yes.
Where?
Oh, capitano. Oh.
Questa bella persona qua, guardale là.
I don't see a beautiful woman. Where is she?
Oh, because I see always beautiful women around me.
But not here today. I only see an ugly Arlecchino there.
Oh, Arlecchino.
Ugly?
me ugly, guarda che ti sei ugly col naso, sta dando un naso che mi sembra una banana, scusa.
Ma lui parlava in latino.
Oh.
Lui parlava in latino. Ma non lo sa parlare latino, lo so parlare solo io.
No, solo tu, ma dove sei? Ma sei qui o sei di là? E
il
tu chi c'è?
Arlecchino, for me, guarda,
Arlecchino. Here in Boston it's lunchtime. Do you have anything to eat?
No, non go mangiare.
Non mangiare?
No, non go niente, no. I don't have anything, I don't go mangiare, non so,
ma la prossima volta mi invito a casa mia a studiare, a mangiare, perché a me nella tavola non manca mai, nemmeno nel
ora mi apparecchio la tavola.
Oh, ma bravo.
E vi saluto a tutti.
Arlecchino, ma tu che sei a Londra, tu devi stare un po' a digiuno, ma vai?
Sì, qua non si mangia, che fanno soltanto, ma no, si mangia tanto, ma insomma, no, tanto.
È famoso il cibo britannico, da quanto è buono.
No, capitano, abbia un po' di rispetto per il grande Arlecchino di Londra.
Arlecchino, ti salutiamo e ti rivedremo presto, si spera,
Sì, grazie mille. Arrivedervi a tutti, grazie.
Ciao, arrivederci.
Grazie.